So today I want to talk about consistency, patience and falling in love with the process of training. So if you've got aspirations to turn professional, or if it's just to become the best you want to be, you need to apply this formula into your cycling. So I'm going to give you an example. We've got Chris and we've got Tom. So Chris comes from a family of sport. So both his mother and father was actively into sport. Family members were into sport. Chris was promoted to do as many sports and try as many different disciplines as he could throughout his childhood. Chris then starts cycling, and Chris does well at cycling. He finds out that I'm good at this and I'm doing well. Then Chris gets to a point where he thinks, I want to take this a step further and I'm going to employ a coach. Now let's take Tom. Tom's parents wasn't active when he was a child. Tom's parents watched sport rather than participating in sport. Family events were more around, socialising with alcohol and food. Tom did a bit of training, but it was totally different to the environment and approach Chris used. Now Tom starts to train, and Tom enjoys training, and he enjoys a bike, and he starts to get fitter. And Tom employs a coach. So Chris and Tom are both working with individual coaches, and they've both seen gradual progressive gains. Now Chris and Tom are out on a bike ride and they're riding together and they're talking. So Tom's talking about his coach. Oh, the last 12 months I've improved by 25 watts and I'm feeling better. My time to exhaustion has improved by 32 minutes. So I'm producing more power for longer durations. And he's happy. Now Chris turns around and goes, I improved by 40 watts in 3 months. And Tom's like, 40 watts in 3 months? He said, yeah, he's great, my coach. I started coaching and we started training and was working on this aspect of our fitness and my fitness just improved. Now all of a sudden, Tom's thinking, Chris has improved by 40 watts in 3 months. Oof. Now something starts to happen. The formula of patience, consistency and fall in love with the process starts to wobble. Tom starts to lose that art of patience because he's looking at what Chris has achieved. If I go over to Chris's coach, will I improve like that dead quick? Will I get those same gains? So that patience is losing. Now, Tom stays with his current coach. He continues to be coached by his current coach, but he's lost that patience and he's starting to lose that little bit of belief and he's starting to belittle the gains he's made. So what happens is he starts to fall out of love with the process of training. So he's no longer remaining patient, he's fallen out of love with the process of training, which ultimately damages the consistency. So Tom makes a decision, I'm going to move coaches. So Tom goes over to Chris's coach. Fantastic. Now Chris's coach says to Tom, it's going to take me about 3 to 4 weeks for me to really understand you as a rider, okay, Tom? So let's get things in place, let me look at you as a rider and let's see. So all of a sudden, Tom's lost 4 weeks of training because this coach is trying to find out and understand more about Tom. So Tom does the training and what he finds is he slightly goes backwards because the coach is trying to find out and understand Tom. So he slightly goes backwards and then he gets back to that level where he was with his old coach. So he's training with his old coach, he's training with his new coach, and all of a sudden he's not seeing Chris's results. I'm not improving like Chris. Okay, so he's thinking again, patience has gone. I'm not improving like Chris. Patience has gone. He keeps training. Now he starts to lose belief in his own ability. Patience isn't there. He falls out of love with the process of training, so that's gone, which ultimately affects his consistency with what he's doing. Tom becomes demoralised. Tom decides to leave his coach and just say, I'm just going to do it myself. I'm just going to ride on my own. And I know what to do. I'm going to ride on my own and I'm just going to get in shape and I'm going to do it myself. So Tom leaves his second coach decides to do it himself, starts to go backwards a little bit, and ultimately stops riding. So Tom sat watching the football, having a few beers one evening, and he's sitting there, and then he goes on social media and he sees one of his friends who he was as good as win a race. He sees one of his friends who was at his same level achieve a new PB in his 10-mile time trial. And all of a sudden Tom sits back and thinks, I wonder what would have happened if I stayed with my original coach. We improved by 25 watts over the 12 months. I was consistently improving, and he kept saying to me, patience, consistency, fall in love with the process of training. He kept saying it to me, but I didn't listen to him. Now I wonder what would have happened. And I see this happen time and time again. I see it happen with other coaches. I see it happen with riders I coach. You know, I've coached fantastic riders in the past who have come to me at okay levels of fitness, and I've improved them, and I've built them up, and I've built them up, and I've built them up. And all of a sudden, we look at other coaching companies, at these riders winning big races, and think, whoa, that rider's winning a big race. He's winning a junior national. I'm going to go over to them because they must be amazing. But you don't know the background of that rider. You don't know nothing about his parents. You don't know nothing about the environment he was in when he was younger. You know, he could have a high natural VO2 max. There's lots of aspects which you need to take, you know, into consideration. So riders move, and they lose the consistency, they lose the patience, they lose that fall in love with the process of training. They go to their new coach expecting miracles, like this coach knows these special formulas which, you know, I'm just gonna be amazing, but it's never the case. Then what happens is that rider's with the new coach, they're not getting these massive results and winning the big races, because only one can win the race, only one. You know, everybody can't win the race, so there's going to be a lot of people who've been let down. Only one can win that race, and all of a sudden, the rider loses patience again with the progression with the second coach. They start to fall out of love with the process of training, and ultimately they stop riding. And I see it time and time and time again. So one message I want you guys to take away today is, remain patient. Fall in love with the process of training and remain consistent. If your coach is giving you good training, you're building a good relationship with your coach, you're receiving great feedback from your coach, and you're seeing that gradual progression, stick with it, continue. For some riders like Chris, who's just a made-up rider, and there's riders like Chris who can improve by 30, 40, 50 watts in a small space of time. I have these riders, but there's some riders who it takes 2 to 3 years to see those same adaptations and improvements, and this is just natural, not just in sport, but within all sports of life. In all walks of life. So patience, consistency, fall in love with the process of training, and you will ultimately lead that goal. Now, that goal might take 5 years for you to get to that goal, but the way I like to look at it is, how old will you be in 5 years? If you continue pushing towards your goal, or you don't, you will be the same age. You will be the same age. So don't leave it to chance and then lose the art of patience and lose the art of consistency and fall in love with the process of training, because as soon as you lose that, everything will start to crumble and you will never reach to that level.